What?
They take shower between the rounds. We take shower. Ah! Porrada!
So start on bottom, one person start on top.
You're supposed to lose next round. You're supposed not to win 3 rounds.
I don't want nobody resting because I think we are even, so nobody has to rest.
Ready, guys?
Man, doesn't that give you goosebumps every time I see that classic vlog from the Unity training camp, the Road to Worlds? Man, I can't wait. It's so exciting. And here's the big news, guys. Yes, with the IBJJF World Championships coming back for the first time since 2019, that means that we're also bringing back the Road to Worlds content tour. Woohoo! Myself, Howell Teague, Jay Smith, and Corey Stockton in the back today, here to kind of bring a little bit of an update as to what's going on with the IBJJF World Championships, because we are 10 days away, but we're going to detail a little of our plans for the road to IBJJF Worlds, plus just talk about some other news in the grappling world, because there's one or two things happening, one or two.
Just a few, yeah. Very exciting times, man. I'm so excited for the Road to Worlds to come back. It's definitely one of my all-time favorite projects. We've been doing it for several years now, and just the level of immersion you get at the academies before the championships is kind of rare access for us, and especially for viewers at home that may not get to travel and see these things. The preparations are so intense everywhere we go, and you learn a lot about how they get ready for that level of competition at the Worlds, what they're doing, how they're preparing. And it's also just fun to watch.
It's special times,
it's
like
special,
you say, because the viewers at home, of course, you guys, you watch from the comfort of your home, or you're there in the stands, either. But you only get to see competition day. You don't get to see the effort, the blood, the sweat, and the tears that's spilled on those mats before they even enter the World Championships. And that, of course, is really compelling stuff. Corey, you're actually going to be heading on the road, as part of the Road to Worlds tour. But I want to know, as a viewer, what was it like for you watching the Road to Worlds?
I've been waiting for this project for a year and a half. This Road to Worlds has always been one of my favorite series to watch, because you get to see firsthand how the best in the world prepare for one of the hardest competitions of their lives, getting ready to take their first shot at World Championships or to go back and try and defend it. Whatever it is, though, it's like being a fly on the wall in the most important training rounds and preparation of somebody's life.
We got a nice little video here that we can play kind of as we're talking. This is just some of the clips, some of the best moments from previous Road to Worlds tours, and man, we really have been all over the world in this. And for a while there, it was centered in the Mecca, the hotspot of Southern California, but then we expanded it, didn't we, Chase? We went to Europe, we went to Brazil, we went to East Coast, we went to all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I've even been able to go to Norway, right? So it really has become an international affair. This year, we're staying inside of the continental U.S., but hitting some of the favorite names. I'll reveal this one. For example, we'll be going to Atos, and we're going, by the way, tomorrow. I mean, this is not happening.
Surprise!
We cannot delay any further. Worlds is next week. We're going to Road to Worlds. We're leaving for that trip tomorrow. And yeah, it's been a phenomenal journey, and really interesting actually to see, as we've gone to several of these academies many times over the years, sort of how they've updated their programs, how they've tweaked what they're doing slightly, made adjustments, as well as their athletes coming up in the ranks. I mean, we see in some of these clips here, guys that are now black belts during their purple belt career. So It's been a lot of fun sort of watching not just our projects evolve, but the teams and athletes themselves.
And this is just a glimpse of what to expect. So I'm not promising that we're going back to all of these different gyms, but what you can see is you can just see what the vibe is like. The tough training, the teams coming together, all pushing each other on. And, this is the key, isn't it? It's like the Road to Worlds has a special energy, because I'm not sure if people realize how intensive the training camps are for major tournaments.
I forgot about
like
the
Worlds.
GoPro footage Reed had up there. That's hilarious.
But the training camps of Worlds are crazy. Like, these guys, they're going hard as hell for like 4 to 6 weeks in preparation for this tournament. As Corey said, it's almost, it's the biggest tournaments of their lives, And man, the Road to Worlds hopefully captures a little of that essence. It gives you an idea of what to expect. It's a special time. We're going to be coming out with vlogs, training rounds. We're going to have interviews with all the big names. We're going to be meeting the team leaders and the coaches, as well as the big name black belts, the up and coming athletes, and a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah. So it'll be a full experience. We're going West Coast as well as a little view into the East Coast as well. The crew will be different than how you remember it, though. I think
we got some new members in the team,
some
right?
new faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have Trey, who has had a little screen time so far. You may have seen him at some of our events, as well as Corey, our regular co-host here. They'll be doing, and of course, Hollywood Mike.
No, it's just regular Mike.
We'll see.
Not the Hollywood Mike. Hollywood Mike is for host number 1. It's just regular. It's IBJJF Mike. It's coming back.
They're not even gonna know what I'm talking about. If I say Michael, they're like, "Who's that?" Oh, Hollywood Mike. So. Anyways, those three will be doing the brunt of the West Coast tour, while Hal and I will be doing a quick trip of our own. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Newsflash, we're going to Unity. I couldn't keep it inside me anymore. We're going to Unity. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. We're going to see the crew there. We're going to see Marcelo Santana leading the notoriously tough training camp inside that famous basement gym that they have now. And, we've got Leandro Lo's going to be there, Levi Jones-Leary, Diego Pato, Taliesin Suarez is already there. Who else? Sebastian Rodriguez, Jefferson Guarez,
Did you say
Devontae Johnson.
Leandro?
I did say Leandro.
Say
That's
it
the
again.
first one I said.
Leandro
Lo.
I want to make sure we hit that point home. Leandro Lo is going to be there. Also signed up as Unity, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Little tribute there to his friend, Marcelo Santana. So it's going to be awesome. We're there for one full day, and we're going to get so much footage. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, super excited for that. So Road to Worlds will be running basically from the next couple of days, and you'll see content come through every day onto FloGrappling and on our social media channels. You'll be able to follow along that tour as we road trip our way all through Southern California, hitting up the major gyms in anticipation of Worlds, which starts on December 9th. So that goes down very soon. Be able to watch it live, but of course, enjoy the build-up here on FloGrappling as well. So Worlds, we should talk about the biggest stories at Worlds, right? Because there are many. We actually had a brilliant brainstorming session this morning. We've been talking about Worlds for weeks and weeks and weeks. But, as we get closer and closer, we start dialing it in a little bit. And we had the 2 gigantic, 8-foot whiteboards just full of notes, both of them, with all the different things, the different athletes, the different storylines, the everything that we're looking forward to about Worlds. And we're going to share some of those thoughts with you here today, because of course you're probably coming into Worlds wondering, man, what should I be looking forward to? Because there's no less than 18 athletes crowned champion every year, right? You got the men's divisions and the women's divisions total. That's just the black belts. That's not even considering the blue, purple, brown, right? But even in the black belts, there's so many different divisions. Sometimes it's overwhelming. Where do you start? Well, how about we help you out on that? And I think what you need to know, first of all, about the 2021 IBJJF World Championships are the pertinent dates. Because registration...
That's a good place to start. Yeah, this is when it's going to happen.
Registration closes today, right? And we saw it today. We were hitting refresh on the list of signups. And man, it was kind of crazy because names were jumping around from division to division. Some would appear, then disappear. It's kind of wild, right?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like one of those people you see in the casinos at 8 a.m. getting breakfast where they're just trying to see the new names coming in. And it has been exciting. And as you said, today is the last day, and we're waiting for maybe a couple last-minute drops to come through, but who knows?
Could happen.
Tough to tell.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of feel that the divisions are more or less full now. All the major names that we were expecting to see in are there. And notable exceptions, we've reached out to the majority of them. We've confirmed that they won't be there for one reason or another. More about that in a second. But The list of names, though, it does change frequently because they've got up until the next couple of days to make any last minute corrections on things like their weight divisions and such. But the main thing is that the registration is pretty much closing like midnight tonight, which means that we could see a few more names slide in at some point tomorrow. But yeah, the other big news, of course, is that the brackets will be released on around about December 7th. That's a couple of days out from the start of the tournament itself. That begins on the 9th. And it runs through till Saturday, Sunday, the 11th and 12th. The 11th and 12th, of course, is when the black belts are scheduled to go. With the finals will take place on Sunday, including the final of the Absolute Division. But black belt elimination rounds will start on the Saturday. I kind of like the way they spread it out over 2 days, I got to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun too. Of course, we don't have the exact schedule yet, but typically the Absolute will actually run in the morning on Saturday morning. And it's always a wild affair, right? Because you have some names that might surprise you that you didn't expect to be there, as well as your favorites.
And we don't even find out who's doing the Absolute until quite late on Friday afternoon.
Right, exactly. And so many people also treat it a little bit like a warm-up because it's before their division. And so you get a lot of people that are just kind of going for broke, right? Nothing to lose. Maybe they don't think they even have a shot at the final, but they want to get some of those jitters out. It's the World Championships, and if you have 2 cracks at it, might as well go for it. So it's always fun, and I think it's a great way to kick off, Saturday morning.
So that's kind of what you need to know about Worlds. You also need to know that you can watch it all here on FloGrappling. But I think that 2021 is the year of the new generation, right? And this is one of the things that we've identified that's special about this World Championships. And Corey, maybe you can speak about this, because when we were looking at it, we noticed that there were many divisions that didn't actually have a returning champion, right?
Right, I'm thinking of there are several divisions without a returning champion, but one of the key ones I'm looking at is lightweight, where the longtime king Lucas Lepre is no longer there. Right, so we're looking at a lightweight division that's been dominated for 6 years, that's now looking for a new champion. Nobody in that division, nobody registered in that division has ever won a world championship. That's just one example, but I think there are 9 divisions total.
Yeah, you do have Mateus Gabriel, who's slid in at lightweight, but he's a champion, of course, in the featherweight division, right? So there's we believe that there are 9 men's divisions, 9 divisions total, 6 men's divisions that don't have a returning champion. Right, as of the time of this podcast, anything could change between now and midnight tonight. But light featherweight, lightweight, heavyweight, asterisk, come back to that in a second, super heavyweight, ultra heavyweight, and the absolute division. They'll all be claimed by first-time champions. Why did I say asterisk next to heavyweight? It's because Kainan Duarte is signed up. Now in 2019, Kainan did win the gold medal in that division. However, his title was stripped after a positive doping violation, a positive test, and he had a 1-year suspension. He has served that. He's back in action. He's fully cleared to go, but he'll be searching for that gold medal once again because, of course, didn't keep that one from 2019. In the women's divisions, you've got featherweight, middleweight, and, again, the absolute. And we talked about this a lot last week, but the absolute is an interesting one because it was dominated by Buchecha for so long, right?
Oh, yeah, it's wide open this year, right? That's the major question we need to ask on this tour at Road to Worlds when we meet all the athletes is, who do you think is going to take home the title? I have a couple frontrunners in my mind. We have Victor Hugo in the mix, Nicholas Marigali, Felipe Pena may be looking at it. There's a lot of different options, right? I even heard maybe Azaki Bahayans might be thinking about the absolute. Yeah. So you have Hulk, you have Kainan. I mean, there are so many athletes vying for that may have been a bit of a long shot against someone like Buchecha, but suddenly, man, who knows how that's going to go?
Oh, yeah, it's wide open if you ask me. There's a lot of new blood coming through as well, and we talked about how a number of divisions don't have the champions in place like they were, the incumbents, let's say. But that opens the door for a bunch of exciting grapplers to come through and to try and take gold. And just in those divisions we mentioned there. Super heavyweight, ultra heavyweight. I can't believe that there are no returning champions in those divisions. But the light featherweight, we're looking at that, and it's a young man's division, right? You've got guys like Mayra Makine and Diego Pato, both competing for the first time, I want to say, as black belts at the IBJJF World Championships, right, Corey?
Right, and that's one of the things that excites me a lot about this year's World Championship is we have 2, let's call them draft classes of rookie black belts who have never been tested at Worlds coming in because, of course, we missed the 2020 Worlds. So, guys, I'm thinking like Jonathan Alves. Last time we saw him at a World Championship, Guy Mendes was throwing a black belt at him.
Yeah, that is interesting, man. A lot has changed since then. And So it's not just a new generation, it's a couple of new generations, a few waves of black belts. I think it's wild to say that Ana Rodriguez, a name that we're eyeing in the light featherweight division, the women's light featherweight division, but that she got promoted shortly after the World Championships in 2019. But she's competed a lot since then, and she's had a lot of success, right? Winning World Pro and winning Brasileiros and many other major tournaments, but hasn't won World or hasn't even competed at Worlds as a
Hasn't
black
had a chance
belt.
yet. Yeah, exactly. And she'll be going up against potentially a veteran, in either Patty Fontes or Tammy Musumeci. It's a pretty stacked division. Jessica Khan is also a new wave black belt in there. So it's a really fun mix, as we're trying to point out, between veterans, previous world champions, as well as seasoned yet untested at Worlds black belts, right? So it's pretty fun. I think we might see some upsets. We might see we're going to see some new champs, brand new champs, and I don't know, a changing of the guard, perhaps?
A changing of the guard. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. However, there is one name, something of a veteran nowadays, actually, when you consider that Mikey Musumeci is looking to make history at this year's IBJJF World Championships. Because Mikey, the most successful American black belt in IBJJF history with 3 world titles, will actually be going for his 4th world title. He has signed up to compete in the roosterweight division, and that isn't just record breaking, that's record setting. That's something special, right? Play this video of Mikey while we talk about it, right?
Yeah, we really weren't sure if Mikey was going to do it. Of course, he's been focusing, as many of you know, on no-gi the last year or so, and having a lot of success there, but he slid in, I don't know, was it a full week ago, 5 days ago?
Man, he usually would wait until the last minute to put his name in, but he's like, no, just threw his name in the mix right there. I guess he was excited.
Yeah, exactly. And no weight class jockeying. Sometimes Mikey will play some mind games or strategic approach to even the way he enters, and will register for one weight class, change his mind, switch it up. But it seems like he is definitely targeting old rival and foe Bruno Malfacini, as well as potentially Taliesin Soares, right? Those are matches that excite him. I know Taliesin's fired up. He posted a screenshot of the registration saying, "This is why I'm here. I want these challenges." And you know Bruno wants that win back as well. So to me, the dynamic there between Mikey versus everyone, but also very capable and dangerous opponents like those 2 names I mentioned, man, that's a sick division.
It is a good division, and if you look at the number of people signed up in it as well, there are 14 competitors signed up in the black belt roosterweight division, and it's interesting because I see it that Mikey is he's almost issuing a challenge to the rest of the world. It's Mikey versus the world here, because what Mikey has done is he put his name in nice and early. He made no secret about which weight division he was going to compete in. And like you say, didn't have any of the tricks or subterfuge or when, is he going to enter? Will he, won't? He just went straight in there well ahead of time, put his name in the roosterweight division. For me, that's a sign saying, you know what, guys? Come and get me. You know where I am. You want a piece of me? Feel free to sign up. It's Mikey would never say that, of course. He's way too humble. But I think that the sheer move of registering early, making it clear which division he's going to compete in, being open on social media and saying, I'm on weight, I'm ready to go, I'm excited. Basically, he's saying, I'm the champion. All you other guys have got to come after me. And I think that's this is a new Mikey that we're seeing here.
We'll see. Corey, what's your take on this whole thing?
Yeah, we've seen Mikey already double up on a weight class, right? So he came up in light feather, won his first gold medal there, went back and defended it, moved to rooster, won his 3rd gold medal there, and he's coming back to defend yet again. Of course, now he's a defending champion potentially going up against the 10-time world champion Bruno Malfacini. I'm doing a pour through this right now. If Mikey wins a 4th gold, he's then responsible for half of all American male gold medals at Worlds.
Ha!
Dang.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Quite the stat.
Wow. Man, Musumeci,
But far from a sure thing, right? A stiff competition there.
It's a competitive division.
And you got to think, him and Bruno are probably on opposite ends of the bracket this year.
I would say so.
And so that means that they very well, if things go to plan, could end up in the final. But there's a lot of people that have a strong shot of an upset, right?
Hey, there's no guarantee Bruno's going to make it through.
Exactly. You have Taliesin, like I mentioned.
Well, consider Bruno and Taliesin. They actually faced off in the opening round of the 2020 IBJJF European Championships, and Taliesin won that match.
He did.
Knocked Bruno out first round. Taliesin didn't even make it through into the final against Mikey that year. That was somebody else. It was Jonas Andrade, who's also signed up. So for me, this division is definitely, Mikey is by far the favorite, representing Pedigo submission fighting as well, now part of the Daisy Fresh crew. But who will face off with him in the final, for me, is wide open.
Man, I want Esteban, by the way. The Giant Slayer's also in this division, and I would love to see him go against one of the favorites just because his style is so unpredictable and hard to game plan for.
Oh, yeah.
You know, let's see what he can do. He's very good at exactly that, so
I wouldn't be unhappy with that.
Let's see.
Okay, so moving on, another big name that we're very excited to see. Me personally, always been a fan of this guy, is Leandro Lo. The return of Leandro Lo to the IBJJF World Championships. And this guy, 7-time IBJJF gold medalist. If he comes back and wins, man, he's going to put himself into the top 4 most successful IBJJF champions of all time. This guy is a machine. He's been competing forever, but really notable is the fact that he's moving down in weight, back to medium heavyweight, a weight class that he hasn't competed at since 2016. As you can see here, this is the medium heavyweight Leandro Lo right here from the Pan Championships. I think it was 2016. And that was the last year that he competed at that weight class. Of course, if you go way back, he started off his career as a lightweight, but moved up until he reached the super heavyweight division at one point. And of course, don't forget that he's a multiple-time IBJJF World Championship silver medalist, was given the gold medal by his friend Bouchecha when they closed out one year. But middle heavyweight or medium heavyweight Leandro Lo, it's a different kind of Leandro, right?
Well, I feel like his game has changed a lot over the last couple of years, right? We see him moving a little bit more conservatively, not quite as, I don't know, unpredictable. I feel like he actually had a very, very strategic approach the last couple of years. He would do a couple things really well, where in the past, a lot of scrambles, right? A lot of kind of hectic moments where he would take advantage and win out basically in a scramble, like I said. So I'm excited to see what Leandro can do, dropping a little bit of weight, as well as, of course, having most of his camp being carried out at Unity Jiu-Jitsu there in New York under Marcelo Santana supervision there. And I think that might actually be a new point of focus for Leandro, just because he's been his own coach more or less for the last, I don't know, 5 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so having someone like Murillo guide him through, or just be responsible for other things, right? Leandro isn't running a gym right now. He's just training, and he's just full-time committed to pursuing this gold medal. I want to know what that looks like too. So I think it's a very exciting time for Leandro. Maybe a renewed sort of approach here. Corey, your thoughts on Leandro Lo?
Yeah, I love seeing him back at a lighter weight class, specifically because we've seen him able to move a little bit more. I think, as you mentioned, Chase, when he was up at the heavier weight classes, he was a little bit more calculated and tactical. We love to see the way Leandro scrambles, because it's wild and because we end up in positions like this where he's knee cutting with a cross choke and just spamming attacks and even allowing space so that he can catch something in the scramble. It's the most fun to watch Leandro at a lighter weight class, a little more energetic, and I think Unity will bring that out of him, training with those guys who are all looking, many of them looking to win their first world titles, and are really going to bring a pace.
Yeah, that's not something to be underestimated, right? It's the effect of training at Unity in a room of killers, a hungry room of up-and-comers, all looking to make their mark on the Jiu-Jitsu world, much like Leandro did, and under the supervision of Marcelo Santana, who does not accept any messing around either. You know what I mean?
He's definitely
it's all business.
General.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all business at Unity, and yeah, man, I think it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what the result of that has on Leandro, because this is for me a pivotal moment in his career as well.
It's a stacked division too. We have guys like Mateus Denise in there, Lucas Hulk Barbosa, Gustavo Batista, all of them arguably frontrunners along with Leandro to do quite well in this division.
It's a tough bracket, man. That division's loaded. How many? 26 guys?
Yeah, 26 athletes here, and I mean we also have people like Gabriel Almeida, Andre Porfirio, 2021 Pan Champ, Jake Watson is
Mateus
in there,
Luna,
Hibamar. So it really is. And Marcelo Santana himself is signed up. Obviously, him and Leandro probably have some kind of agreed upon outcome if they were to meet in the brackets. But in any case, It's a tough division. Actually, that may be part of the reason, Leandro, now I'm thinking about it, is that Unity, therefore he would only meet Marcelo perhaps in the final. I know it's not a guarantee with the IBJJF anymore with true seeding.
Yeah, good
but
point.
it could be part of that, right? So,
yeah. For me as well, it's a big question about Leandro because he's 32 years of age, you know? And in jiu-jitsu years, in Leandro years, that's pretty old, right?
At the highest level, not just once a year, but all the time for
forever, for his
10
pretty
years.
much his life. Yeah, he's been competing as a black belt since 2011, and you know he's been at the absolute top, the pinnacle of the sport that entire time. So this is a moment when we're going to see a very different Leandro, I feel, but it should give us an idea of what to expect, you know, that if he goes out and if he has great success, I mean, it's going to be a really cool tale of how, you know, somebody was able to turn their career around after, you know, taking it in a certain direction. But if he doesn't, he comes back, well, I think he'll open the door for somebody else to take over that division because it is wide open. But it's very, very interesting indeed. I'm excited to see what Leandro himself has to say when we hit up Unity later this week.
Absolutely.
Moving on. The best colored belts to watch at IBJJF World Championships. So one of the favorite things for us is to go back and to kind of look at the videos that we've made over the years. And we mentioned it right at the start there while watching that Road to Worlds video about how, you know, you're seeing in the background, you're seeing this guy and he's a purple belt, or this guy, he's a brown belt. And now they're world-class black belts fighting for the World Championship titles. But one of our favorite things is to identify that talent while it's coming up through the ranks and, you know, give them the push that they need to elevate their careers, right? So talking about colored belts at the World Championships, there are a few names that stood out for us. And actually, it's interesting because the main reason that we really jumped over the names is because they've been so active, especially for us in the no-gi scene, right? I think it's important to note that, you know, that this year, you know, the gi season hasn't been quite what it was, and there's probably been a lot more opportunity to compete no gi for a certain section of athletes. But we pulled up a list of names, and we're looking at guys like Cade and Tyru Otolo, Cole Abate. You've got Andrew Tackett, you've got Jacob Couch, Mason Fowler.
Somehow still a brown belt.
El Monstro, Elder Cruz. And all these guys have been absolutely killing it in no-gi competition. I'm talking who's number one. I'm talking no-gi worlds. I'm talking ADCC trials. And now they're all putting the gi back on to compete at worlds. Corey, that's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you think of people like El Monstro, Mason Fowler, who when you think of their jiu-jitsu, you tend to think no-gi jiu-jitsu, but they're both very capable in the gi. They're both pan champions at brown belt. So it'll be exciting to see them put the gi back on and show what their game looks like in this rule set.
Chase, I mean, it's a tough question because there are so many. There's blue, purple, and brown. And maybe you just want to pick out a couple of names that stand out for you. But anybody that you're interested to or looking forward to see competing in the color belt divisions?
Well, I think you just picked out, I think, the name that everyone's watching, which is Cole Abate, right? Cole Abate, after his incredible run at ADCC trials, winning that youngest ever male to do so and doing it in pretty much dominant fashion. I was amazed and blown away to hear Guy Mendes say that Cole had done, let's say, half of his camp or so in the gi while he's preparing for ADCC trials. So you know he's still sharp in the kimono, and I think I just want to see what he looks like, right? It's been a little while, and that is going to be exciting. I think it's his last chance also at juvenile before he moves up. So that's...
Yeah, next year, he's finally able to compete as a purple belt.
Yep.
So stop your complaints of sandbagging. This kid is playing it by the rules. He's following the rules to the letter.
He's doing everything he can. He just won trials, for God's sake.
But he's competing in the juvenile 2 male lightweight division. Signed up a couple of other AOJ guys, actually. Oh, yeah, there's Gustavo Agawa, who's one of his teammates as well, signed up in that same division. But very exciting to see Cole. You know who I'm looking forward to seeing is the checkmat brown belt, Jansen Gomez. So Jansen actually double gold at the recent Nogi World Championships in October. And I remember watching him going head-to-head was some of the best in the world in the gi going back to 2019. This is an opportunity to see what he can do here in the gi. He's a brown belt, is one of the up-and-coming prospects from the Checkmat network, right?
Yeah, definitely. Jansen's a super special, dynamic athlete.
Corey,
pointing at Corey.
I am. It's your turn. Give us a color belt you're looking forward to watch.
I'm really high on this year, especially Ismael Santos. He looked great at pans at featherweight. I think that featherweight division at brown belt is stacked, but I think Santos has everything it takes to kind of hold them off and defend his spot at the top of that division.
Yeah, actually, that's a great division. The brown belt featherweight's pretty stacked. I'm also looking at Eduardo Rocky in there as well, who took gold in the lightweight division, I want to say, at Pans not too long ago, a couple months back. Eduardo Rocky of Start Jiu-Jitsu. I'd like to see him go head-to-head. Also, Elijah Dorsey, who competed against him in the final of Pans, signed up at the lightweight division as well. This man, it would be unfair to go through and to try and name standouts from all the different color belt divisions, because there are so many. There's
it's insane. That's really, we've kind of stuck around at brown belt, but purple belt is very exciting. I want to highlight real quickly also, WNO alum Jesse Crane. Jesse Crane is in a stacked light featherweight division there at brown belt. Really interesting set of athletes in there. We also have like Julie Belmonte and Abigail Pontes. Abigail, very successful both in IBJJF and like the Fight to Win circuit as well, very active there. And then Yasmin Kasser from Art of Jiu-Jitsu. She's won just about everything as a color belt.
Right.
This has to be, I think, her last run as a brown belt.
Her
promotion
can't
has
be far
to be
off.
pending, right?
Yeah.
So she's someone that I'm looking forward to watching there. I want to say in heavyweight division. Let me double check that.
Yep. I think it's interesting to note as well, isn't it, that the winner of the brown belt absolute,
division.
The winner of the brown belt absolute, man, it's always very important to pay attention to who wins the brown belt absolute, because if you go back and if you look at historically the winners of the brown belt absolute divisions, and even more so the winner, the double gold brown belt champions, they almost without fail go on to have standout careers as black belts. They don't just arrive as one more black belt. They usually hit the ground running. If you look back historically at some of those names who have done so, I'm talking about Victor Hugo, I'm talking about Nicholas Marigali, but you go back even further and there's Marcus Puchesha, there's Yuri Samois, all these guys, all these big names have basically done exceptional things at brown belt. Uber Santos, Muhammad Ali, all these guys, they go out, they win absolute, and then they come through and they just like I say, hit the ground running, and they become big name black belts. So I urge you to keep an eye on that brown belt absolute, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the future, right? It's always I want to say the last match of the day too, sometimes on Saturday, and only the diehards are left, right? Everyone's tired, and all the other black belts that are getting ready for Sunday might have gone home. But the fans that are left for the brown belt absolute are like the most passionate, and it's just it is the future, right? It's a glimpse of what's going to be maybe the finals next year at the black belt level. So special moments, right? I remember Zaki Bahayans and Marigali, right? Was that a Worlds final or was that a Pans final?
I think it was a semi-final at Worlds in the absolute division.
But it was like one of the craziest matches I've ever seen in my life.
It was, and they were technically teammates at the time as well. I mean, they're teammates now, both on Dream Art. But yeah, it's some of those absolute division matches from the Cup belts really are just etched into our memories. Okay, so I think this is a big one. It is the women's absolute division, the black belt division, the women's absolute. Who takes it? And I'm not asking you on the spot. I'm not like, hey, who you got? No. It's in general, who takes it? Because much like the men's absolute division, this year, the women's absolute division is pretty much wide open, because consider the fact that Tiny Porfirio, Dominica Obolente, and Nachieli DeJesus, all three, they dominated the absolute division for the last 6-7 years. None of them are competing here at Worlds this year. So we are guaranteed to get a first-time champion in the women's black belt absolute division. And we feel that there are probably 3 front runners, not favorites, not certains by any means, but 3 front runners to take that gold medal. Corey, lay it out for us.
Yeah, let's look at the podium from Pans. I think it's a great preview. Gabi Pisagna, Yara Soares, and Ana Carolina Vieira have to be, I think, for me, the front runners for the absolute if they all sign up. There's obviously a rivalry between, honestly, all 3 of them, right? Gabi and Ana Carolina faced in the Pans semifinal. Ana Carolina and Yara faced in the Pans final. And, of course, there's this ongoing rivalry between Yara and Gabi Pisagna. They've fought at this point 15 times in the last 2 years or so.
So remind us of those results then. So Yara took absolute gold at Pans, correct?
Correct.
She beat baby Anna Carolina in the final. However, Gabi beat Yara in the weight class final, and Anna Carolina beat Gabi in the semi-final of the absolute. So there's this little triangle going on here. They've all got the ability to beat each other. And Anna Carolina Vieira told me last night that she has moved up in weight to the medium heavyweight division because she has won 3 IBJJF world titles as a black belt in the middleweight division. But she's moved up to medium heavyweight this year as part of her preparations to compete in the absolute. She's put on that extra weight. She knows she's going up against the big girls.
Yeah, I mean, and she's got the style to do it and the strategy as well. I mean, she's definitely in the top 3 for me. We also can't count out some of the veterans in the game, right? We have also Fernanda Mazzelli,
right?
3-time world champ and I think 5-time Brazilian national champ. She could very well do some damage. Also, Maria Maui-Jasiak is also Maui-Jasiak. I'll get it one day, Maria. I'm sorry. She should be a front runner, I think, in the absolute as well. Always game for it. So.
Also, don't sleep on Isadora Silva of Dream Art as well. Also registered in the heavyweight division. We generally look to heavyweight competitors when we're considering winners of the absolute, right? And there you can see in the black gi is Yara Suarez doing her thing. She signed up at super heavyweight, as has Gabi Pesanya. There's a good chance you'll see them compete probably twice at Worlds. But yeah. In the heavyweight division, you've got a couple of big names standing out as well. Maria Maui-Jasiak, Fernanda Mazzelli, and absolutely as well Isadora Silva of Dream Art. And I think that, we shouldn't sleep on the fact that you've also got Liz Clay signed up in the medium heavyweight, Anna Carolina. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see Tamara Ferreira from the middleweight division move up and try her hand competing in the absolute as well. There's a lot of very capable competitors who could make this one of the more interesting divisions overall in the black belts, right?
100%. Yeah, I'm really excited for this. And the anticipation of wondering or waiting to find out who's in the absolute is one of my favorite parts of the tournament because you start seeing names trickle in and anticipating matchups. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm definitely excited for this.
Of course, something of a wild card, but don't be surprised to see Bia Basilio slide into the absolute.
Yeah,
as well.
she always
she's done
does
it before.
Yeah,
she's done it before. And actually, let's remind the viewers as well that Bianca Basilio, as successful as she is, having won PANS, World Pro, ADCC, she has never won the IBJJF World Championships as a black belt. She's come very close, having won silver, but that's a title that I'm sure that she is very, very eager to get. And what better way than to win both her weight and the absolute? We'll see.
I'd love that story. That'd be insane. Yeah.
IBJJF Worlds goes down December 9th through 12th here on FloGrappling. You can watch it all, every match from every mat. But now, let's talk about a big event coming up in 2022, the ADCC World Championships. Man, ADCC, astounding news. Can you believe that tickets for the 2022 World Championships, which goes down in September next year, they went on sale on Black Friday. And they sold over 7,000 tickets in the first 24 hours. That is freaking mind-blowing.
I am so excited to see what that looks like in person, right? I mean, that arena is going to be full. It's going to sell out almost immediately. If you are thinking about buying tickets, I would do it like today.
Yeah,
right
you better
now,
get on that. Yeah,
because they're not going to stick around much longer, and I think it's going to be the biggest ever attended event in Jiu-Jitsu history, to be honest.
I think you're probably right, because capacity for this venue is the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas is about 12,000, they've said. Just short of 12,000 seats will be available. Now, just bear in mind that the ADCC in 2019, that was a sold-out venue, and it had about 4,400 spectators.
So we're already double that, basically. Not quite.
Pretty much, yeah.
Close.
They've sold almost double the amount of the entire crowd that attended the ADCC 29 World Championships. They sold out that many tickets in a day. And they're probably going to sell out very, very soon. So they only have upper tier seating left. Still good seats, I'm sure. But yeah, absolutely wild that people from all over the world will be descending upon Las Vegas in September 2022 for this, the biggest no-gi grappling event in the world, in history. Going to set records, break records, you name it, right?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be incredible.
And speaking of ADCC news, well, it's also some very cool news, because as they told us, and we revealed the first 2 entrants into the Hall of Fame last week with Andre Galvao and Roger Gracie, both being put into the inducted into the ADCC Hall of Fame. That today they have actually announced the third member of that little squadron right there, the elite grappler himself, 4-time ADCC champion himself, Marcelo Garcia. And I don't think anybody would argue. Corey, Marcelo Garcia, one of the best. You can play this little clip. We got the sort of the animated homage to this legendary grappler. But man, Corey, Marcelo Garcia, one of the best to ever do it.
Marcelo Garcia is one of those figures that people who don't know about jiu-jitsu, don't follow grappling, still recognize, especially for his ADCC run. He's one of the very few people at 77s who have medaled in the absolute division, and he's had just a historic ability to submit almost everybody he's faced in ADCC.
He's the only man to have won 4 ADCC gold medals in the same weight class, and that 2003, 2005, 2007, 2011. Man, incredible career. Really, I'm not sure that anybody else will do it the way that Marcelo did it. He made a mark on jiu-jitsu that is really something special. And yeah, I think it's very fitting that he should be inducted into the ADCC Hall of Fame. I think people probably would have been pretty mad if he'd been left out.
Yeah, that'd be an oversight. Obviously not happening. I feel like people associate Marcelo with the triumph of jiu-jitsu in a literal sense, right? Technique over strength. And you saw that just watching his matches. I remember that was one of the first people I was introduced to when I started training was you got to watch Marcelo Garcia. And you just saw this like normal looking human taking on Goliath, like the beast, and so and making it look almost easy. Obviously it's not, but
technically speaking as well, his legacy, man, he was so important in jiu-jitsu because, you know, before Marcelo came along, things like the single leg X and the X guard, they were not particularly well-known techniques. They are now staple positions that everybody knows. You know, his use of the butterfly guard, the guillotine were literally the best in the world for many years, and still as pointed to as references of the effectiveness of those techniques. And you know, of course, he has enjoyed a lot of success in the gi as well. I believe a 5-time IBJJF World champion in the gi, but it's definitely the ADCC accomplishments that really mark him out as a special talent. And yeah, really cool to see him inducted into the ADCC Hall of Fame.
absolutely couldn't deserve it more.
Could not. Okay, so ADCC news out the way with. Time to move on. Craig Jones versus Gabi Garcia.
It's a hell of a transition. One of the greatest athletes in our sport ever, most decorated, and then on to this match.
Well, Gabi Garcia is also one of the greatest, most decorated athletes in our sport.
That is true.
Craig Jones is not, but
Second. He's
second best.
Second best.
However, what started out as something of a joke may not actually be a laughing matter anymore. Play this quick clip because this is the moment that Craig Jones initially called out Gabi Garcia.
I mean, there's one thing I want to say, right? Obviously, I got Tyra Tolo next, but Gabi Garcia keeps ducking me. She keeps trying to delay this match. I think it's going to happen on Who's Number One soon.
In May of this year, Craig Jones came out and he heel hooked Luis Panza, Who's Number One. And in his post-match interview, Craig, it's very difficult to get a serious answer out of Craig sometimes when he's in the right mood.
Which is all the time.
But yeah, he's a well-known joker. And he dropped that little challenge there to Gabi Garcia, and it led to this months-long back and forth on Instagram. And it was like, at one point, they're like, wow, they may actually do this. And they had everything set up to go. You can play this video while we're talking about this, because this is absurd. They were originally going to face off in like a match inside Gabi's gym. Craig went to Gabi's gym to compete against Gabi, and they were just going to stream it. They were going to roll, and they were going to stream it on Instagram. However, the night before the match, apparently Gabi gets phone calls, some quote marks, big money offers. And basically what happened was fight promoters in Japan were calling up Gabi, and they were like, hey, you want to do this for real? You can do it here, and you'll get paid. Gabi, of course, fought 6 of her 7 MMA fights in Japan and has a strong connection to that country, for her career. Craig is like, yeah, whatever, I'm down.
Craig has a strong connection to money, so it all works out.
There you go. So they went to Gabi's gym, and Craig basically just, they did this press conference, and Craig just went and treated it as a laugh, as he usually does. But now he dropped in a recent interview on a podcast with James Smith, he said that I believe it's still going to happen December 31st in Japan. So, whoa, that's legit. A New Year's Eve show in Japan, those things are huge. It's like the biggest event of the year in Japan in combat sports. They get millions of people tuning in. I think Craig could get paid for this.
You get, handsomely paid for that, and so would Gabi. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure if I have a buy-in yet.
You dubious?
I need to see a poster first.
You think that Craig's trolling, or?
I think he's hopeful that this may happen, but we'll see.
What do you think, Corey? How would a match between Craig and Gabi go?
Oh, I don't even want to speculate on this match. I just want to see if it's going to happen. I'll watch it happen. I don't know if there's anything I can predict that adds to this match at all.
Hey, listen, Craig himself is the one to say that if it's in the works, then I'm going to take that seriously, because Craig does joke a lot. And this is the problem. It's almost like the grappler who cried wolf, right? But, he jokes a lot.
Classic parable, yes.
He jokes a lot, and you're never quite sure whether to believe him. But when he's serious, he's really serious. And if he's saying that there's an offer on the table for a match against Gabi on New Year's Eve in Japan, well, that's pretty big news. And, we are talking about Hollywood actress Gabi Garcia now.
It's true. Streaming on Netflix.
Yeah.
We'll be sure to keep you guys posted if we hear anything more about this ongoing saga between Craig Jones and Gabi Garcia.
I'll be watching. Okay, let's just round up some of the biggest news from grappling from around the world. We are going to start off with in Europe, in the UK, one of Europe's top submission grappling events, Polaris. They had an event over the weekend. Paulo Miao faced off with Ashley Williams. Ashley Williams took that one by decision. AJ Agazan went in and took on local hero Jed Hugh, and Jed Hugh was able to get a win over AJ, apparently breaking his foot in the process.
Really? I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
There's a moment during the match when you can hear the clip about how it's a really gruesome looking leg lock, and AJ does this thing where he just doesn't tap, right?
Yep.
And somebody in the crowd shouts out, "Break his leg!" And Jed turns around and he goes, "I already did."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, nasty. However, the biggest result from Polaris for me, and this is possibly even a match of the year contender, because it was definitely match of the night. It was submission of the night. But Igor Tanabe, a.k.a. Fat Ninja, the Japanese-Brazilian black belt, submitted Tommy Langacker with a choke from the back in an incredible match. Almost 14 minutes of action. They were going back and forth. And bearing in mind that Tanabe is pretty big, he's much bigger than Tommy Langacker, but Tommy's a Viking. He goes out, he's kill or be killed, and man, it was an amazing match.
Yeah, I really needed to watch that one yet. I think Fat Ninja's probably 2 weight classes bigger than Tommy at this point, maybe just one, but
yeah, I think it could be 2. Yeah,
I think both athletes really represent high octane jiu-jitsu in the gi, right? Very just aggressive in general. Even though Tommy might be more happy to play off of his back, he's always looking for the sub there, chasing the back, something like that. So that's what you want to see out of professional jiu-jitsu, right? Gi or no gi, you want someone pushing the pace, and both those guys can really do it. So I'm looking forward to reviewing that after today.
It's a great match.
Here.
I'm happy to see Tanabe back in action as well, because he actually made his MMA debut earlier this year, not that long ago, a couple of months ago, won by first round submission, put his opponent to sleep. And one of the reasons that he actually went to MMA is because he was having a hard time making money in jiu-jitsu. And he's got a young family. He's got a baby, he's got a wife, he's got to look after them, and just the opportunities weren't there because things are much more restrictive in Japan in terms of what's open and what's not, and he just wasn't able to make money professionally doing jiu-jitsu. Well, luckily with the travel restrictions being lifted, he was able to fly to Europe and compete in this big match against Tommy Langacker. I'm hoping to see Tanabe in action more, because I love watching that guy. I think he's a great competitor. He's got a great game. We've talked about him a lot. He had one of the most spectacular submissions of 2020 when he put his opponent to sleep with a Kanto choke.
I thought you were going to talk about Reed when he submitted Reed and almost knocked him out with a head kick.
He KO'd Reed. Legit
also,
gave Reed concussion one year.
A great Road to Worlds moment. I enjoyed that one. Usually Reed's filming me get my ass kicked, so I relished every second of that.
That was pretty brutal. Spinning back heel to the temple.
One of the best moments of 2019. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Igor Tanabe, big win over there. And hopefully, though, we'll see Tommy back because he is signed up at Worlds. So very excited to see him in action soon. Emerald City have a big announcement that should be on their Instagram now, literally while we were on the show. But they are ready to announce a feature super fight that is taking place on the show today. Corey, what's going on Emerald City?
Yeah, so we're actually exclusively announcing this. They've already announced Eric Naples versus Esteban Martinez, but the other major super fight they'll be having is the upset queen Amanda Levy versus Lauren Jones, who looked outstanding during the East Coast trials just a couple weeks back.
Awesome.
Sick match. I love that.
So now we know a lot about Amanda Levy, right? Of course, she is a great competitor, both jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts. She has had professional fights on PFL. She's an ADCC veteran. She fought on Who's Number One for Us, beating Gabi Garcia in the opening round in one of the Match of the Year contenders. What do we know about Lauren Jones? What can you tell us about her opponent?
Lauren Jones is out of Black Hole. She really kind of earned her spot in the spotlight, or earned her shot in the spotlight after ADCC trials, where she went 3-1. She worked her way all the way into the semifinals and took third place, only losing to Kendall Rusing, but on the way scoring something like 12 points in 3 matches.
And I want to say Black Hole Jiu-Jitsu as well. I saw a lot of their competitors at the ADCC East Coast Trials. Pretty strong local team, huh?
Yeah, especially a strong women's team. You may remember her teammate Fatima Klein also took third in at ADCC Trials. So the two of them and the rest of the Black Hole squad are really starting to grow.
Awesome. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. So, Emerald City goes down. It is, just to remind you, of course, a 16-man tournament, £185, EBI rules with $10,000 on the line for the winner. I'm excited for this one, actually. It's going down in New Jersey, December 4th. You can watch it here on FloGrappling. And if you look at the list of competitors, man, it is a loaded bracket. We talked a little bit about this last week. Let's mention it again. John Blank, Dante Leon, Giancarlo Bodoni, Nick Ronan, Isaac Mitchell, Oliver Taza, Sean Yadamarco, Alan Sanchez, Isaiah Wright, John Combs, and others. This is a loaded tournament.
Yeah, and a lot of those names that you've just listed off there have kind of chosen to commit fully to no-gi competition right now, right? Like Dante Leon was someone that we would have normally expected to see at Worlds every single year. Now he's doing things like Emerald City Invitational instead, committing himself to trials, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's really same can be said of Giancarlo, right? Giancarlo, another great standout from trials. It's interesting to see this sort of division grow where athletes are saying, I'm going to commit one way or the other, and I'm glad there's opportunities for them, right? They're staying very busy despite Worlds happening just a few days later. So good stuff all around.
Yep, the event goes down in Martinsville, New Jersey, and you can watch it here live on FloGrappling. Very excited for that one. And just the last thing is we mentioned it briefly there about Gabi Garcia going Hollywood. So if you're wondering what that means, you may have seen some posts about this on social media, but play this clip because Gabi Garcia, she appeared in Halle Berry's directorial debut film on Netflix that debuted this week. I think it made it to number 2 most popular movies on Netflix this week. But Gabi Garcia appears in a brief clip earlier in the movie as an opponent for Halle Berry in an underground mixed martial arts fight.
Epic.
Say what you will about the movie, but it's pretty cool seeing Gabi Garcia pop up like that. It was unexpected. I'd heard about it and I decided to give it a go. And within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, it's Gabi Garcia. There she is. And then she's gonna pow. She gets beat up, and then that's it. But
it'd be a different move if Gabi just destroyed Halle Berry in the opening scene.
I'm hoping for the sequel where Gabi comes back and gets her revenge.
The revenge, yes.
Awesome. Well, that's it from the Grappling Bulletin today. Big news, lots happening and stuff. But of course, the main thing about everything's all about Worlds, right? It's the Road to Worlds begins here this week. You'll be able to follow along everything on FloGrappling.com and on our Instagram and other social media platforms. We'll see you next time.